At the western edge of Europe, where the Atlantic crashes endlessly against rugged cliffs and rain-soaked hills roll toward the horizon in every direction, lies an island shaped by weather, history, and a quiet resilience. A land of stone walls and green fields, of small villages and ancient ruins, of winding country roads, warm pubs, and homes where the kettle is rarely far from boiling. To much of the world, Ireland is known through its symbols: the shamrock, the pub, the music, the accent, the rolling green landscapes that seem almost impossibly vivid beneath shifting gray skies. But beyond the stereotypes lies a country whose rhythm of life is quieter, deeper, and more rooted in community than many outsiders realize. Because while modern Ireland has become one of Europe's most developed and globally connected nations, much of its soul still lives in routines and traditions shaped by the land, the weather, and the people around it. This is not a country built around speed. It is a country built around place, around familiarity, around conversation, around home. This is the quiet rhythm of life in Ireland. To understand life in Ireland, you first have to understand the weather. Rain here is not an inconvenience. It is a constant companion. A mist, a drizzle, a soft persistent dampness that can drift in and out throughout the day without warning. The weather shapes everything. It paints the landscape in the deep green for which Ireland is famous. It influences architecture, agriculture, routine, and even mood. There is a national familiarity with gray skies and changing conditions. A certain acceptance of unpredictability. People may joke constantly about the weather, but beneath the humor lies a truth. It governs daily life more than many outsiders expect. And yet the Irish do not seem to resent it. They adapt to it. There is a cultural resilience in simply carrying on. A raincoat on. An umbrella if needed. Then continue. This quiet practicality is reflected in the wider national character. Ireland is not generally a loud or flashy society. It values warmth over spectacle, humor over arrogance, conversation over performance. In many parts of the country, especially beyond the major cities, life still moves at a noticeably slower pace. The village and small-town culture remains strong. People greet one another in shops. Neighbors know each other. Stopping for conversation is normal, not interruption. Running errands can take longer than expected because every quick trip becomes a social encounter. The local shop is not merely transactional. It is part of the social fabric. The same is true of the pub. To outsiders, Irish pub culture is often reduced to drinking stereotypes. But the pub has historically served a much deeper role. It is a social anchor, a gathering place, a community living room, a venue for conversation, storytelling, celebration, and comfort. Birthdays are celebrated there. Funerals are mourned there. Sports are watched there. Music is played there. News is shared there. For many communities, especially rural ones, the pub remains one of the central social institutions of life. It is less about alcohol itself than about connection. Because community is one of the strongest themes in Irish life. Ireland remains a deeply relationship-oriented society. Family bonds are strong. Friendship circles are often lifelong. And local identity matters enormously. People may identify not simply as Irish, but with intense pride in their county, town, parish, or even neighborhood. Ask many Irish people where they are from, and they may answer with a village or county before saying, Ireland, place matters here. Belonging matters. This local identity is reinforced through sport, particularly the Gaelic Athletic Association, or GAA. Across the country, local communities rally around amateur clubs competing in Gaelic football and hurling. These are not minor hobbies. They are major pillars of local life. Entire communities may organize around their local team. Matches bring generations together. Players often become local heroes. Even adults who move away may return to support their home club. Sport in Ireland is not only entertainment. It is community identity in action. Family life remains central to Irish society. Although urbanization and modern economic pressures have changed living patterns, close family ties endure. It is common for relatives to live near one another. Grandparents often play major roles in family life. Sunday gatherings remain common. Family events carry significant weight. And the home itself is treated as an important social space. Irish homes tend to emphasize warmth and hospitality. Guests are welcomed quickly. Tea is offered almost immediately. The phrase, "put the kettle on," is less a suggestion than a cultural reflex. Tea in Ireland is not simply a drink. It is social ritual, comfort, hospitality, problem-solving mechanism, celebration, condolence. If something happens, good or bad, tea usually follows. That domestic warmth matters partly because the home serves as refuge from the weather. Ireland's climate may be mild compared with harsher northern countries, but the dampness and chill make indoor coziness deeply valued. Fireplaces, blankets, warm kitchens, soft lighting. The home is often treated as a place of comfort and retreat. Food in Ireland reflects both its agricultural history and climate. Traditional Irish cuisine developed around hearty, practical ingredients. Potatoes, bread, dairy, root vegetables, lamb, beef, and seafood remain staples. Though Irish food was once stereotyped as plain, modern Ireland has undergone a culinary transformation. The country now has a thriving food scene, with strong emphasis on local produce, artisan products, seafood, dairy, and elevated modern Irish cuisine. Still, comfort food remains central. Stews, roasts, soda bread, hearty breakfasts, meals designed for warmth and sustenance. Agriculture remains deeply tied to Irish identity even as the economy modernizes. The countryside is still dominated by farms. Dairy farming, sheep farming, and cattle remain major parts of rural life. Drive through much of Ireland and you see it immediately. Green fields, stone walls, grazing livestock, tractors on narrow roads. The rural landscape is not simply scenic. It remains economically and culturally active. Yet Ireland is also highly modern. The country transformed dramatically over recent decades. From a relatively poor and agricultural nation in the late 20th century to one of Europe's wealthiest and most globalized economies. Cities like Dublin, Cork, and Galway now host thriving sectors in tech, finance, pharmaceuticals, and international business. Global corporations maintain major operations here. Young professionals fill urban offices. International migration has diversified the population. Modern Ireland is no isolated rural backwater. It is a globally integrated economy. And yet even amid modernization, much of traditional Irish rhythm remains. Because despite urban growth, Ireland still feels smaller and more intimate than many nations of similar development. Partly due to its population size. Partly due to its village-rooted culture. Partly due to the persistent importance of personal relationships. Ireland's cities, while growing rapidly, remain more human-scaled than many major European capitals. Dublin, the largest city, is busy and increasingly expensive, but still compact by global standards. Walkable. Manageable. Personal. Beyond Dublin, many Irish cities retain a distinctly relaxed atmosphere. Life often feels less rushed than in larger international metros. But modern Ireland is not without its struggles. Housing has become one of the country's biggest challenges. Rapid economic growth, strong inward migration, and limited supply have driven housing costs sharply upward. Rent and home ownership, particularly in Dublin, have become major concerns for younger generations. Rural depopulation also remains an issue in some areas. As young people move to cities for work, some villages and small towns face aging populations and gradual decline. And despite Ireland's prosperity, economic disparities remain visible. Urban and rural experiences can differ significantly. Yet for many, these challenges coexist with deep appreciation for the lifestyle Ireland offers. Because life here often provides something many people increasingly seek. Balance. Connection. Human warmth. A pace that still allows room for conversation and community. Perhaps nowhere is this clearer than in Ireland's relationship with storytelling. Ireland has long been known as a land of poets, writers, musicians, and storytellers. This is not accidental. Conversation itself is culturally prized. Humor is highly valued. Wit matters. Storytelling ability is respected. The Irish gift for language is not merely stereotype. It is woven into the culture. From casual pub banter to literature of global significance, words matter here. There is an art to conversation. An appreciation for subtle humor, self-deprecation, and well-timed storytelling. And perhaps that reflects something deeper about Irish life. It remains a culture that values people over efficiency, connection over haste, presence over performance. Nature also remains central to daily life. Even those in cities often maintain strong attachment to the outdoors. Ireland's landscapes are among Europe's most celebrated. Cliffs, lakes, mountains, coastal drives, windswept beaches, rolling countryside. Weekend drives, hikes, seaside visits, and rural escapes are deeply ingrained in national lifestyle. The landscape is not simply admired. It is part of identity. Many Irish people maintain powerful emotional connection to the land itself, to county, to village, to coastline, to family roots. This connection partly explains why emigration, a defining theme in Irish history, carries such emotional weight. For generations, Irish people left in search of opportunity. Britain, America, Australia, Canada. Yet the emotional pull of home remained immense. Even today, many who leave speak of Ireland with powerful nostalgia. Because beyond economics or opportunity, Ireland offers something difficult to quantify. A feeling, a familiarity, a warmth, a sense of belonging. So why do people stay? Why remain in a rainy island on Europe's western edge when larger, richer, sunnier countries exist elsewhere. Because for many Irish people, life here offers something money cannot easily replace: community, humor, safety, natural beauty, family closeness, strong identity. A pace of life that, while modernizing, still leaves space for humanity. Ireland is not a utopia. It has housing issues, economic pressures, weather many would find depressing, infrastructure challenges in places. The same closeness that builds community can sometimes feel limiting. But for those who love it, Ireland offers a rare balance. Modern enough for opportunity, traditional enough for identity, global enough for relevance, small enough for intimacy. It remains a place where many still know their neighbors, where family ties remain strong, where local identity still matters, where conversation is never rushed, where the weather is endlessly discussed, where the landscape feels almost spiritual in its beauty, and where life, for all its modern pressures, still retains a quieter rhythm than much of the developed world. This is the quiet rhythm of life in Ireland. Not built on spectacle, not built on speed, but on land, weather, warmth, wit, and the enduring strength of community. And perhaps that is why, despite everything, so many who leave eventually feel its pull again. Because Ireland is not simply a place people live. For many, it is a place that stays with them.